Um, okay guys, my name is Latoya. I'm probably better known as toyas-world on some of my social media accounts. And I'm here today to finish off drawing, or sort of finish off drawing, one of my original characters that I've created for my first D&D game. So by D&D game, I mean a tabletop game. I've played a few online already, on Steam. Luckily not against people, because I suck at gaming, hardcore. But yeah, so this is my character Nimyn Wizard, the Wizard. She is a gnome wizard. And you might be thinking, oh, that's not an original last name, but she was actually taken in, she was found, so she didn't have a last name. And thus she gave herself a last name, really. Not sure if you guys are actually watching at the moment. Let me just check something to make sure this is actually playing. Yes. Okay, it seems to be working, which is good. And there's no playback, thank God. I had that trouble the other day. So yeah, I think I've already done the first side of this. So the reason why I chose to do this picture and just continue on with the back was because this is kind of really my first live stream, sort of. I've done a few before, but I didn't really talk in them, so now I'm going to talk in them and start it. Originally, I think I was just going to do the base colors, but I might just do a full render of it. I will say I'm not too confident with sort of sketching out the character. I just keep erasing and starting again, erasing and starting again, warping and so forth. So I thought I'd just start with one that's already drawn in. Yeah. Please note also that I am not actually a professional, so any of you wanting to criticize me, I don't mind the constructive criticism, but if you're saying, oh, it's shit, it's not really constructive, so, you know, please withhold those comments. And any professionals watching, yeah, if you want to give me some criticism, I'd be happy to take it in. I'm kind of at that point where I'm very frustrated, I guess, with my skill, because I am learning, but it's sort of that thing where you're improving the tiniest bit, right? And you don't even know if you're improving or not. So, yeah, and then you don't notice it until later. So I was actually pretty happy with this picture that I drew. For once, normally I'm not happy. But that's in terms of, sorry, I'm not actually sick. I just have a phlegmy throat, which I've had for a couple of weeks now. I'm not sick. But yeah, I'm happy with the rendering of the picture. I know her body looks a little stiff. I can agree to that. Like I said, I'm not that great at it yet. It is something that I am working to improve on and off, because sometimes it does get me quite down. If you can hear my squeaky chair, I'm really sorry. I need to get it fixed, but half the time I don't actually notice it there until somebody points it out to me. Yeah, so anatomy is one of my biggest things that I need to improve on. Like I said, I'm happy with the outcome of the render of it, but I kind of wish that she didn't look so stiff. Yeah, anatomy is hard. Yeah, that works. So, I've actually been wanting to stream for a while now. But I was a little bit concerned because I actually really like to either listen to music while I draw, sorry. Excuse me. Or I also watch gameplay, people on YouTube playing games, just to sort of help me focus. I know that sounds a bit backwards because a lot of people can't focus when things are in the background, but yeah, the voices in my head are a little louder than I'd like. So, like, even sometimes I will have the music and somebody playing a game at the same time. But yeah, so right now I'm actually listening to somebody play on my phone. Just to get through this. Or not to get through this, but like, yeah, two voices going, mine and YouTube's, really. It's looking okay. Yeah, to any of those of you who are like way more better than me, I'm still kind of figuring out my process. This is sort of a new process that I'm working on to sort of get better. I used to do it layer by layer with the bases, and then creating clipping masks on top of the base layer, and adding all the shadows and the lighting and all that. But I found that, especially when I start doing bigger pictures, what did I do? Yep. When I start doing bigger pictures, my program starts just really slowing down. So this is something that I'm trying, and this is the same process that I used doing the front side of Nimyn. Let me just do something quickly. Let's do that. There we go, so you guys can keep an eye on what is going on. There we go. So I'm currently working on a Cintiq 13-inch. Mine is a couple of years outdated. I would really like to get a new one. I'm actually looking at getting a Huon this time, just because they're a bit more of a cheaper option for me. Looking at getting the GT, what was it, GT, I think it was 191 or something, the 19-inch. I've heard some good things about that one, so I was thinking of getting that one next, which I've been trying to do for the last 2 years, but things just keep popping up, the surprise bills or surprise events or stuff that keep me from buying things. I think this year I bought a new bed. My bed was getting pretty old, and it was about time that we got a new one, so hopefully we can have the bed for the next couple of years, and next year I can get myself a Huon. But it's not just the bed, like, I'm planning to move out next year as well, so I'm saving up for that. That's taking a little while because I only work part-time. I don't have like a full-time. Like I said, I'm not a professional, so I've got pretty much a part-time job. I work at a fuel station. I get my money there. It does good. It's enough to pay the bills, which is good. But yeah, but it's not enough to, like, sort of spend money comfortably, I guess I would say. And not comfortably as in, like, I'm struggling. I've got a roof over my head. I'm living with my boyfriend and my sister at the moment, so there's food on the table, we're getting by fine, we're not like super struggling. But by comfortable, I mean like, in my scenario, I'd be like, oh, I'm comfortable enough to sort of buy food at work. I'm actually trying not to buy food at work, which I've been doing pretty well because I've been preparing all my meals at home. I'm not an A-grade chef. There was a stage where I was learning how to cook meals, which was really fun, but at the same time, I just got a bit overwhelmed and exhausted, I guess. I'm trying to learn how to draw, so I was doing a couple of courses at the start of the year to get better. yeah, trying to learn to draw. That takes up a lot of my time because I'm learning a multitude of things. I want to get back into my exercising. I was doing really well with my exercising, actually, at the start of the year. I was going almost every day. And I saw the progress, and then it came to like where I am right now with my drawing, thing right now, where I was progressing a little bit, but I couldn't tell if I was actually getting anywhere or if I was just like in a plateau. And then I went on a holiday, and that just stuffed up my whole routine. But no, I'm getting back into it now. I'm starting to walk. I started not dieting per se. Like, diets are really hard for me. Just giving up everything. But like, I'm trying to create a more healthy living, I guess. Like, incorporating it into my lifestyle rather than like forcing this whole new regime on me. So I guess that's what I'm doing with the walking as well, is every day I'm trying to just walk. I was going to try and go for a jog today. I actually really loved jogging back when I could. I haven't gone in a while because it was winter. We've just hit spring. But today it's just pouring outside and I don't really feel like running out in the rain. Also don't want to, I also don't want to get sick as well. Like I said, I'm only working part-time. And I don't want to lose any of my shifts. I actually picked up a shift today, for next week, I mean, but I picked it up today, because I only have 3 shifts next week, and that kind of sucks. I mean, it's good in a way, because I'm like, yeah, 3 shifts, more time to draw and stuff, but then at the same time, I want money, I want to save up, I want to get a car, I want to buy a house, all that kind of stuff, but I can't do that on a part-time salary. So, yeah, I'm hoping at least, like, maybe one person might be watching this, and maybe not right now, like, not watching it right now, but watch it eventually, and know that, yeah, toyas-world is trying to get her name out. Well, something like that anyway. Not get her name, just sort of, I guess, one of the reasons why I started streaming was, I don't know, meet new people, make friends, sort of, hopefully find people who are roughly around in the same boat as me, like right now, in terms of drawing, not in terms of like my whole life, but in terms of drawing. Like, lately I've been feeling really frustrated that I can't get a job in the industry, and a lot of the times, like, I've been dealing with it relatively okay this year. I've put a lot of focus into getting better. What I might do later this year to show that is redo a picture that I did at the start of the year, and put it side by side to show the comparison of how much I've learnt and sort of improved, I guess. I think everybody should really do that from time to time as well, to sort of just lift up your that word. One bad thing about me is I forget my words. It'll come back to me later. Another bad thing is I will start a sentence with no context, so if I do that, just call me out on it, so that way I know and I actually give you guys a context. But yeah, so yeah, I've just been really frustrated that I can't get a job in the industry. At the same time, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to get one straight away. But yeah, at the same time, I don't want to be working part-time forever. I mean, it's not a bad place to work. I've worked at a lot worse. The people there are really nice. It's great that everybody works in a team there. But, I want to be sort of doing something with my career that I've been working for the last couple of years, for the last couple of years, not towards. So, I've got a degree in animation. Originally, I was going to do animation. But, I think I really just burnt myself out in my final year. I think I was doing like, what was it? Sorry, just one second. I think I was doing like 3 assignments in my final year. One of those assignments being a full year long, and in that course particularly, we hadn't really learnt too much about animating in 3D. So a lot of my, all my assignments, sorry, I should say, were in 3D. So yeah, I was doing that in Maya. I was doing 3 assignments, and I just really burnt myself out. It was very hard to keep up. I was also producing, or co-producing, sorry, my final year project, which was the year-long assignment. And I was also the president of my Kung Fu club that year as well, so I was just doing a lot of things, and I was working. And I had just been kicked out of my house, so yeah, a lot of crap going on. But yeah, so by the time uni finished, I was just really burnt out of animation, and I kind of wanted a short break. So I started digitally drawing. Now, I have done a bit of digital drawing before I actually started on this path a few years ago, but it was really crap. Like even while I was drawing it at that time, it was really crap. I just knew, like, because I was more stronger at traditional drawings, sketching, painting, stuff like that. Not that I did a lot of paintings, but I guess in a way you could say that I was more comfortable with the tools of pencils and paints as opposed to Photoshop and stuff. But it was definitely something that I wanted to learn, because I look at everybody's drawings online and they're just absolutely amazing. Like, very inspirational, very daunting, but very inspirational and motivational. So yeah, I think I actually started doing that at the end of my course, started digitally drawing, because I needed a creative outlet. Like, I wasn't doing too much creatively, I think, which was sort of like eating me up. So I started creating these fan art pieces of a book series that I really love. To this day, I still think it's one of my favorite book series. If you want to know what it is, just message me, I guess. Yeah, so I was doing that, and at the time I thought it was amazing, but it is not. I've looked at it again this year and last year, and oh my gosh, yeah, it was really horrible, and I just thought it was amazing. But yeah, so I started doing that, and after I finished uni, I actually got sort of hired at this studio, where I started taking, so they sort of got me as a 2D artist as opposed to, a 2D animator. So that's when I started focusing more on my digital art. So at the time, like I said, I still wasn't that great at digital art. Like, I'm not great right now. But oh yeah, so I thought I was okay, but I wasn't. But I sort of got a mentor there who's actually still my friend. I only worked there for a year, but my mentor, yeah, we're still really great friends. I see her on a monthly basis, and we always catch up. She's actually the one running my first Dungeons and Dragons game. She's pretty awesome. She's really awesome, not pretty awesome. So yeah, she taught me a lot in that year, that helped me improve. Even when I finished up there, I still had like a lot to learn. I'm still not that great at, I'm still not that great at environments. Like, environments is still such a big challenge for me. I've come a long way in environments. I feel like I understand sort of the theory behind it, I would say. And by theory, I mean that thing where you understand how it works, but if you were to actually do it, your body would flop and flail on the floor, sort of thing. So yeah, I understand that, and I can sort of get something out of it, but at the same time, I can't put it down on paper yet, because it baffles me still. Whereas, like, I was talking to actually an illustrator the other day, or an artist the other day. I don't think she's digital, or at least the works I've seen isn't digital, it's paintings. But her environments are actually very basic, but very beautiful, and it's just this, as probably a lot of you might know already, the suggestion of shape and stuff, and my brain's just like, okay, I get that, but when I put my finger down, pen to paper, in this case computer, my brain just flops out and goes, I don't understand. I guess I could say that's because I come from a more traditional background. Like, I wasn't great at traditional arts. I think I was okay. I think that came from when I was younger. Like, I've been drawing since I was 8. I've not gotten that far. Please don't think that's impressive. It is not, considering my skill right now, because you need to listen to, I think it's Marco Bucci's talent book. He talks about, like, talent in general as a thing. He has an ebook, but he does, I think he reads or talks about it. I think it goes for 40 minutes to an hour or something like that, about talent in general. And that was my thing, was when I was younger, I was actually quite talented at drawing. Now, by talent, I mean, in primary school and high school, yeah, I can draw a picture pretty good compared to a lot of the other students, but it still sucked. But yeah, and he goes on to say that talent is probably a bad thing to have, because it kind of lies to you. It does lie to you, because, for example, you draw something relatively good, and at that stage of your drawing, or your life, or however old or young or process of your journey is, you'll think, oh, that's actually pretty good. At that point of your drawing journey, like, you've done since then, before that, it's been pretty bad, or at that stage of level that you're at. But then you've done this really amazing drawing that's pretty good, as opposed to your previous drawings, obviously. But then what talent will do is it'll sort of lie to you and say that you don't need to learn all these fundamentals and stuff, because you already know how to do this. And that's kind of what happened to me. So, like, for example, with drawing characters, I could halfway draw a decent character that was readable, that you could sort of understand, but the anatomy was lost really bad, and in my head, or as Marco Bucci says, my talent was saying, you don't need to learn the muscles and stuff, you're already drawing people, but in reality, it really slowed me down. So that's what happened in my art journey, was it just slowed me right down. And it's been very, very hard to catch up. It's been exhausting and very frustrating at times. Like, I feel like I've improved, sure, but I could be a lot more along the way if I had not listened to talent and just, did the studies. Yeah. So I might create a clipping mask for now. Yeah, so at the start of this year, I even think maybe at the end of the year, sort of when I left that game studio, I've just been working really hard to improve. I feel like I've definitely come quite a long way with rendering, somewhat of a way with anatomy, and a smidge of a way with environment, but yeah, I've still got so much to learn. Let's see. Let's do that. I might start that way. Nope. Yeah. So yeah, and doing this, I'm hoping I'll possibly meet a couple of artists who are sort of in the same boat and just a bit frustrated. I'd even love to meet a professional that would help me along the way. That'd be awesome. Just to say, yeah, you should be doing this. Well, not in that way, but like, you can improve by doing this, and then I'll just go off and do my stuff. I need to move this a bit down. Yeah, but it's been one hell of a long art journey. Just a bit tired. Have my coffee here, which is great. And I'm starting to get back into drawing again. I had to take a bit of a break during August. Not that it was not willingly. I had to pick up a lot of shifts in August because people were either quitting, well, leaving. This is my part-time job. Leaving. Were sent to another store temporarily. So that gave me a lot of opportunity to get money. And like I said, I still need to pay the bills and stuff. So that kind of comes first. And my shifts were kind of a bit all over the place. And like by all over the place, I mean like it's a 24-hour store, so I could be working anywhere between 12 a.m. at night to like somewhere in the evening to somewhere at 5 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, so it kind of burnt me out a little bit, and I definitely slowed down in drawing. I was also learning 3D at the time. I was actually getting into a routine of practicing, so I'd do like an hour of anatomy studies, and then I'd do maybe 2 or 3 hours of 3D, and then I'll go do my exercise. I was getting into a really good routine in July. But yeah, then all that work stuff happened and it really threw me out. It slowed down in September, so it's October now. It slowed down in September, which was good, but I've lost my pattern routine. I like to get into routines to keep me on track. So yeah, I lost my routine. I'm just getting back into it now. I still haven't gotten back into my 3D stuff, but I've been working on a lot of drawings. So September was kind of a big month for birthdays, and I'm a little bit broke. So I've been drawing some people birthday presents. So I was doing that. I think I did 2 birthday presents and this character. And each of them took, its own time. One of them was a Compossible fan art poster for one of my mates. She really loves Compossible. That's actually how I met her, through Compossible, because I did a poster of it, or like a fan art of it. Where is it? A fan art of it a few years ago. Actually, maybe I'll show that comparison, really. But no, that's from a few years ago, like 2 years ago maybe, before I started at the game studio. Yeah, and that's how we met. She liked a lot of my stuff, and yeah, she's a really sweet girl, and I'm really glad that we met. So yeah, I did a Compossible poster for her. I was actually surprisingly happy with how that turned out. Like lately, I've just sort of been, I hate it, and not in the terms like I really hate it, but in the terms like, oh, I feel like I can do better. But yeah, I was happy with that, and then I did a portrait photo of my mother-in-law's dog. I was pretty happy with that, actually. I still kind of feel like it could be a little bit more better, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Not tooting my horn or anything, trust me. I'm the first to say, oh, I can improve, I can improve, I can improve. But, every now and again I gotta take the win and say, yeah, you know what, this is alright. And then so that was that, and then I started drawing this picture, which I'm hoping to put into my portfolio. That's why I'm doing a back version of her, to sort of show. Now I know that her design is sort of kind of pretty bland. I don't have too much experience, unfortunately, drawing fantasy-like characters. It is definitely something that I'm going to start getting into, obviously, with playing D&D. At the moment, I'm actually working on a dwarf character for my boyfriend. So I've never drawn a dwarf before. Crap. Yeah, I've never drawn a dwarf before. Actually, no, I think I have drawn a dwarf before. Once, but he really did not look like a dwarf, to be honest. He looked more human. But other than that, like, sort of stereotypical dwarf with the biggish ears and the biggish nose type thing. Oops. Guys, let me know if I'm drawing on the wrong layout. I do that all the time. Actually, let's do some of that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm drawing a dwarf character. Well, I've started drawing on it. I need to, I guess, draw more body sizes, but the thing is, it's not from my head, so I don't know exactly how my boyfriend wants him to look per se. He told me a little bit, like, you know, this is how I want the hair to look, like the bold dwarf from The Hobbit. But he wanted the beard to look a little bit differently, so I'm like, you know, you need to show me examples of how you want the beard to look. So far he's shown me the beard, the head, obviously being bold, and the hammer that he wants to be drawn. But then he started asking me about clothes, and I'm like, well, I don't know, what would you like the clothes to be? I drew his face just as a fill-in, like, he didn't give me any idea on how he wanted the nose or the eyes to look like, or the eyebrows. So I just put in fillers. He seemed to be okay with that, which was good. But at the same time, you know, I don't know how things, you know, things are gonna look unless he tells me. So it's something that I need to work on later. I was thinking of doing that as the first stream, but like I said, I don't really know where that's going yet. This, at least I've got some idea of where it might be heading, so I can sort of show that here. I should really be concentrating on this, but that's okay. Yeah, so the thing is, some of these methods I've picked up from other people, from the courses I've been studying. I did two halves of two courses at Schoolism. I really enjoyed that. The first one I stopped doing was because it was way too advanced for me. It was a color course, and it was great. Like, it was great. The theory was all there, but like my actual knowledge of doing it, like my practical knowledge of doing things, wasn't there. So I couldn't really keep up with the course. So I decided to drop it for a little while. Well, for now. I don't know if I'll be getting back to it. And then I did another one, which was really great, but like I said, that was back in July, and I've sort of dropped out of that routine. It was another course, but more basic, more easier to follow. Whoops. And the first one I did was a digital drawing class, which actually really, like, it actually pushed me a long way compared to where I was at the time. Now, not a long way isn't like a great deal of way where I can draw amazingly. I can't. But from where I was at the stage, yeah, it definitely pushed me a long way. So I really enjoyed it, and it helped me learn how to sort of not draw faster. I guess optimize my my process a little bit more faster. Oh no, why isn't that locked? Yeah. Cause yeah, I just couldn't figure it out. And like, for example, when I was drawing last year, for example, if I was doing the hair, I'd be doing like this one strand, and then I'd move on and do the next one. And I'm talking about the one strand as in I'd shadow, light it, detail it, and then I moved to the next one. And it was just a really long process, and it took me a really long time. But it was as much capacity as my brain would allow me to sort of understand at the time. If I tried to force that to a bigger process like what I'm doing now, I'd just burn out. I wouldn't know how to do it. So yeah, like one strand at a time, like it took me hours to do just the hair, and now like it's, well, I don't know if I'm fast, but I'm a lot faster than I was. At least I'd like to think I am. That's actually more shadowed. So there is kind of a light coming from the side, but I think I might do it that way. Yeah, and again, guys, not too harsh. Like, I'm still learning. It's taken me a really long time to get here. I still suck at lighting. I keep forgetting that I need to also do the think of the directional light and all that stuff, and also form and cast shadows. Whereas before, like I said, I was from a more traditional background, so the way that I used to sketch. Like most people would know apparently, or I've been told, is that shading in would be more of a form shade. So like if you were to draw the scarf here, you know, obviously there'd be more like shadows here, and then you'd have the light part here, well, probably not that light, sorry. The light part, sorry, here, and shadow under there because there's a fold, and that's sort of the form shadows. Oh, actually, it doesn't look too bad, I think. But then the stuff that I didn't know, this was a few years ago, so like I would know how to form shade, but I wouldn't know how to, I never thought to do like the direction of light, so that's actually wrong. And that should be over here, because there's a light coming. Oh no, did I do that? Oh, I did, didn't I? How did that even happen? Okay, whatever. It's there. It's done. Like I said, how did that happen? Oh, that's what I did wrong. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I mean by drawing on the wrong layer. That's alright, whatever. We'll work with it. Yeah, so I wouldn't think about the lighting. So like the lighting is coming this way, and I've done the hair there, and then I'm just drawing according to form blending, as opposed to thinking about where the direction of light is. So because the light's more on this side, and that's coming also from a downward way, so sort of a more that way, I guess. So get rid of that. This is sort of wrong as well, I guess. I'll just change that. But like I still have a little bit of light coming here. Like I'd rather have this part dark. So what I might do is do that. So that way it's coming sort of, that's not good. There we go. From the top. There. 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 I guess more there. You'd think here, but that's sort of folding inwards like that. So the light would be hitting there, and I'll give a little bit of a dash there. Not too light. But yeah, even in this arm, like if you actually look at this picture here, I feel like it's starting to get a 3D feel to that. Not so much this side. So what I might do is just bring back that. I'll do that a bit more, and that. Oh, you finished the game. Sorry, I'm watching somebody play a game as well. Oh, talking to you guys actually helps as well. It's good to know. But like this, I think this would have a little bit of light. Not as brightly, but like the crook here would be covered by the arm, so... Sorry. It'll be a lot more darker, and this would be slightly lighter. And then there... let's see. There we go. Yeah, gosh, I've already been drawing for 40 minutes and I've barely done a thing. Huh. So I'm just going to go back. I really shouldn't be starting the shadows yet, but whatever. I'll just... Anyway. Okay, there we go. So... let's see. This, again, the sun's sort of more coming from the top, so what I'll do is... and if any of you are actually listening and sort of learning, like I said, again, please know I am not a professional. This is just based on the knowledge and skills that I know thus far, and that I'm applying it to this drawing. while I was doing this, it wasn't too bad actually, but it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of changing it up, and the process can take a while. Like, I think Nimyn took me about 4 days to do. I don't know whether that was successfully or within like a few hours of the day. Yeah, I'm grabbing the colors from her front side just because, like I said, I wasn't really planning to render her back out, but you know, why not? I mean, more practice, whatever. And then the way that this is looking, which is also at the front, there is a bit of a fold here. And there's still a little bit of lighting, I think, going on there. But the arm is there, so it'll be casting a shadow, like that. But I can fix that later. Cast shadows. They make things look actually really nice. I discovered that, actually, sort of by myself, I think. Or, you know, maybe I subconsciously remembered it from learning somewhere. I might just add a bit there. Well, not that bright, though. Just to give it a bit of form. Well, I was drawing a fairy picture. Again, it sucks. The fairy picture sucks. But when I saw that I did that, I was just like, and I think I actually did that accidentally, like, it wasn't purposely. I was like, that actually makes the picture pop a little bit more, or makes it look a bit more finished, I guess. And then even here, because their butt's there, it'd be like, that'd be the form. So the sunlight would be hitting up here. Go, and even here. Yeah, so that works, I think. Oh, it sort of works. I might make it a bit darker back here, so that way it's got a bit more form. Yeah, I'm really getting into the 3D form. There's a few artists, one or two, that I follow. In terms of like, I really like their style, and it's something that I kind of want to adopt into my own style, and it has a very 3D feel to it. Like, there's a few artists that I follow that there's a few different ways that I want to draw. But in terms of this 3D look, I think there's maybe 2 artists that I might follow that sort of does it something like this, or I do it something like them, but they probably do it a lot more better because they've honed their skills. But yeah, so what I've learned from this is, like, you kind of want to make like the edges of the object darker at the edges, but then bring it lighter to the top. And that's not to say like bring it lighter like that, that just destroys the image, but like slowly up and just shift the scale a little bit to bring it. But that's something that we can work on later. Like, right now it sort of looks like I'm rendering it. Maybe I am, I don't know, I'm still learning, but I'm just sort of trying to figure out the form. See, the other thing that I know that I would have liked to do this, but it's just extra work, is I actually really like bounce light. So if I was to redraw this a little bit again, I would probably add a bit of green bounce light here. But, you know, that's okay. Whatever. I'll continue working. Excuse me. So that is creating that. That's a bit light. Might darken that. Now, for the more beginner people that are into their rendering, and like I said, I'm not wrong, I'm not right, it's just what I've learned so far. even though this has a lighter value, so value means like lighter and darker sort of thing, I don't want to make it too light right now because I'm just sort of figuring out the form. And this is sort of one of the methods that I learned at schoolism. I might be doing it completely wrong, to be honest, but that's okay. You know, everybody is sort of like learning how to draw, It's sort of like learning how to drive. Everybody learns the right way, and then eventually you adopt your sort of own way of driving. That's completely wrong, and you will fail your test if you drive that way, but, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's sort of like that. I learnt this one method, and I've sort of applied it into my own and sort of changed and adapted it, I guess. And it works for me. At least I think it does. Like, I'm still working on my process and stuff. So let's see. Now, this part here is actually like this part here. And the reason that is because you can't see the back part here because it's covered by this part, obviously. And it's very close to the shoe, which is very surprising. I wish I could have made that lower, but I kind of stuffed up the angle of that bottom part. But that's okay. Like, each picture, you'll learn something different. Ha! It's on lock. I can't draw on it. Great. That would have been great earlier. So what I might do is, whoops, I'll make this layer a little bit lighter. Now, there will be a sort of cast shadow there, but I can put that in later. So this part here would be dark, but what I might do is I might just add a little bit of lightness, or, you know, lighter value there, to give it that sort of transition. So it won't be as light as this, but it's there to show form. I feel like that's wrong still. That colour looks funny. Whatever, that'll do. I might work on the book later. Like, when I did her front side, I kind of left the book till last because it's just a small thing. And like, I didn't want to get too in detail with the book while I was sort of still figuring out the lighting and the shadows of Nimyn. Even the symbol, that was like the very last thing that I did. The wisps coming out of the side, the very last thing I did. These shoes look a little bit under-rendered. It was the last thing I did as well. Or before, like, you know, before the book. But I will do that now. So, with this one, again, it'll sort of have that curve going. So what I'll do is I'll add the lighting there, and then a little bit there, because the heel comes out. I don't know if I'm teaching anybody. This is kind of the inner dialogue. Now it's sunny, great. The inner dialogue that's in my head while I'm drawing as well. I'll be like, I'll do this and I'll do that, and there's a bit of a what's it called, fold there, and then again there is the heel. So yeah, what I'm doing right now is the form shadow, which is what I've been doing all along. Might add a bit more darkness there. Another bad thing. So right now it is 1:15 p.m. in Australia. I know I follow a few Americans online, and they're probably all sleeping right now. And when I have to watch them stream, I'm like up at an ungodly hour in Australia. But sometimes that's usually when I actually work, is the midnight shifts. Don't tell anybody. I'd like to work safely and peacefully in the shop while I organise everything. But so sometimes I am awake, and then sometimes, like this week, I actually don't have a midnight shift this week. I'll be asleep. So it's been very overcast and raining today. It's actually been raining, sunny, raining, sunny, raining, sunny. And this is in like the span of maybe the last 2 hours. And right now it is very sunny, and there's a big window right behind me. And I can't put curtains there because it's in front of the stairs and I can't reach because I'm very short, like this gnome. I think, I might make that still a little bit lighter. Yeah, so it's casting this really bad glare on my screen, so if anything looks really bad, I'm going to blame the window from this point on until it gets overcast again. So I'll do that, I'll do that. I might make that a little bit lighter. And nope. Do that for now. Just to get an idea of where everything is sort of sitting. I might actually go back and add a bit of more form, not just the lighting stuff. There. Sorry. And do that. So I think for now that's okay. Now I'm probably gonna keep continuing on with this, getting it finished. I've got quite a few projects lined up to do, and with work, with my frustrations lately, it's been very hard to keep on top of things. You know, it's not just work. For example, in my mind right now, I've got work, and I've got to study. Like study in my own time. You know, I'm always studying. Studying, trying to get better at this. Well, most of the time. I'm just restarting again. Yeah, getting better at this. I need to get back into my 3D. I've been learning how to 3D model again. I've done it in not high school, in uni. And because a lot of my stuff at the moment is character heavy, I thought it'd be a good idea to learn how to 3D model. But yeah, Maya is a little bit frustrating at times when I'm following a tutorial and it does something different to the tutorial. And then, you know, gotta try and exercise, gotta earn money, gotta save. I don't mean to rant or complain. I've just been, yeah, I just been feeling a bit stretched out recently. And then, yeah, there's all the housework, you know. You may think it's not a lot, but mentally it kinda is. You know, making sure that there's dinner on the table every night, and like planning what to cook every night, and buying food. I don't just do food stuff at home, you know, I've got to clean the house. I've got 2 cats that I take care of, which isn't a lot, but sometimes they can be a little bit annoying. They're sleeping right now. Irony is that they like to sleep when I'm awake, and then when I'm trying to sleep, they go batshit crazy. Well, not really. My older cat, Patch, he's somewhat good, I should say. He really loves my sister, so he'll cry outside her door, and sometimes she's already asleep, and then I'll bring him into my room, and he'll leave and cry outside her door again. But, like, other than that, he pretty much goes to bed when we go to bed, which is good. But my other cat, he's a bit younger. He just loves running around the house at the end of the night. Like, and I've done this before. I will stay awake all night on the couch, and he'll just lay down and sleep. I've done this. I'm not saying this is what might happen. I've actually done this. And he'll he'll lay down and sleep all night on my lap while I'm watching TV during the night. And yeah, he'll be fine. But then, if I go to sleep at night, in my actual bed, he'll just run up and down, up and down, up and down, and up and down. At one stage, it was just very hard to get any sleep at all. Ooh, there's actually a car shadow there because of, oops, the ear. How did I not see that? No, I'll do it there. That makes more sense. I think it makes more sense. I think. I don't know, I think. Yeah, so there's also taking care of the cats, doing the washing, making sure I actually have uniform for work, because like I said, I work at different times of the day and week, It's not always, I have a uniform, that's what I mean. Like, I have a uniform that I need to wear, and I have to make sure that it's washed and ready to go, which I was actually supposed to do that today. Okay, I'll do that later. So yeah, it's just, it's a, you know, it can be mentally draining at times. I don't know, maybe doing this will help. It's another thing to do, but I'm actually having a pretty fun time doing the stream and talking, and not just, well, I'm probably talking to myself, but eventually, hopefully, not talking to myself. And for all those people who talk to themselves and people call them crazy, say thinking out loud. It makes you sound less crazy. I'm focusing too much on detail. Let's see. This is something else I have done before in my process, especially when I get too bogged down, is I can actually sort of see what's working well. I need that to go there, and that to go there. Like, when I was doing her hair, the line art was actually slightly different, and I was just drawing what looked right. When I was doing this, when I was doing her hair, sorry. What looked right when I was drawing her hair, and it was completely different from the line art, but that's okay, because it kind of worked for me. It did work for me. There's a form there, just make that a bit lighter. So it's sort of, I don't know, I feel like doing this also, getting out of the line art, sort of breaks the shackles a little bit, I guess, that are sort of expecting you to stay confined within the lines. You don't necessarily have to do that. That should be darker, that should be lighter, that should be darker. Yeah, that works. That should be like that, there we go. That should be lighter. So, I guess like this part here where I'm going lighter, darker, I think that's a really good thing to sort of follow. This part looks terrible, I'll fix it soon. Is a good thing to follow. Like, if there's a light side, there's going to be a dark side opposing that to create that nice form. There we go. That works. When I first actually started learning how to digitally draw, not properly, just like, oh, I wish I could draw that, but I have no idea where to start. I did get some feedback. This was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. How old am I now? I don't know. But yeah, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And one of the things that they told me, and their work was beautiful, but their work I think also was just a sketch. And by sketch I mean not copied, but like they just pretty much copied the original image, which is, you know, in ways a great way to learn, but it's also very, in my opinion I should say, sort of restricting as well. It's also good to sort of use it as a reference, but change things up a bit, so that way you're sort of not just copying it, but you're sort of, like a lot of people are saying, is you're not just copying it, you're sort of figuring out how that works as well. So you're sort of learning, yeah, you're learning how things work, you're not just copying stuff. Let's go back here and fix this. Yeah, so their work was really, in my opinion, I thought it was really nice. But yeah, like I said, it was mostly just a copying from pictures, which there's, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I did that for many years and I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of the reasons why it's held me back though, was because I was just copying. But yeah. So what I was saying was, yeah, their advice to me, which helped a little bit get me into drawing, not help me get better, just help me start digitally drawing, was that they would you know, get their brush, whatever, and turn the opacity to 50 and the flow to 50, and they just keep blending and blending and blending, sort of like what I'm doing right now. But I'm more happier at a 70% at the moment. I keep changing back and forth. No, I don't keep whipping my hair back and forth. No. So, yeah, they would do that, and they just render and render, and I think, like, I can't say for sure, but the way that they gave me the advice is the approach that I took into my own art at the time was blending, and then, like, for example, this part here, I'd blend a little bit more lighter color, and I'd keep doing that, and then I'd go back down to get that thing, and that just took hours. Like, it took forever, and, you know, nobody wants to spend 10 years on a picture. I mean, maybe some people do, but preferably not me. You know, I want to work on other pictures as well and other projects. And like I said, I want to get into the industry as well, so that'd be something nice. And even now, I still think I'm a little bit slow. I don't think I've done that right. You know what? I think I might do this. I'm going to do the roots darker. And then I will do these parts lighter. Yeah, so they did a... That seems to be working a little bit more better. I might do that lighter and that darker. Also note that while I'm doing this, I'm also looking at the small window. Like I said, sometimes I do get into details a little bit too early. I think I'm kind of doing that right now. I've improved a lot. I will say that I've improved a lot. Like I said, I used to work on one strand and just keep like rendering this one little part here until I thought it looked amazing, and then move on to the next part. But right now I'm just trying to create that form. I might go back to my line art just to see what's happening here. So I think even these can be a little bit more there, a bit of darkness there. Not as dark as here, but like I said, I'm creating a form where I feel that these parts would be the lightest, and that will gradually go into a dark, not completely, and then because the folds are here, these parts will be the darkest. Yeah, see, that works so right. Then I'll do that. Yeah, I'm still learning this as well. Like, one of my biggest things that I've learned just recently is the subtle changes, and I'm not talking about learn as in like, oh, I've mastered it, but learn as in, oh, I've noticed that there are gradual changes of value and color in certain parts of the drawing. So it may look the same color, but it's not. It's very hard to explain. So maybe I can explain it like this. Like, it's light here, and there's a gradual gradient. Very subtle gradient. Probably not the best example that I'm showing you. But there's a gradual gradient here that gives it that. I'm going to stop doing that. Yeah, gradual gradient. That shows that this is a different part of the hair. This is more away from the lighting, and then this is where the lighting is mostly hitting. So, what I might do is that. Might add the gradual here as well. There we go. It's working. I think it's working. I might hop off soon. I think I've been on for about an hour, and my goal at the moment is probably just to do hour streams every now and again, depending on, you know, if I have the time, whether or not I'm actually reaching maybe even one person would be nice. There we go. Sorry, that was me. Sometimes I squeak my lips when I'm thinking. Or the... what's it? The circus theme from Madagascar sometimes goes through my head while I'm thinking. Yeah. So I really shouldn't do that, but whatever. I think, actually, you know what? That'll be good there. And then what I might do is... Sorry, Inside Voices are speaking right now. Get rid of that, because that's supposed to be the lighting coming from that way, but that's okay. And then, because this part here is getting darker, I might grab the lightest part. How does that look? And add a bit of light there. There we go. I'll stop doing that. Does that? I can't actually see. I'm gonna get rid of that layer. Ooh. Alright. So darkness here, lightness there, darkness there. I think that's working. Yeah, so I might do some more of this in my own time. It does get a little bit boring, like for people to watch this go on for hours and hours and hours. That's why I guess the quick versions, people call them speed paints, but I think speed paints are more like people drawing really, really fast, which is crazy. I can't do that, not yet. Well, I'm hoping one day maybe I can. Yeah, this sort of stage might be a bit boring. Probably is boring for some people. You know, you lose interest. And you kind of just want to come to the end of it where it looks like, bam, that. But even that took me a while to get to. I might do that. I know, I should hop off, but I'm kind of having fun doing this. Even if nobody's watching. And do a light there. The light's hitting there, but I kind of want to add a bit of light there just to give it a form type thing. Then do that. I might add that a bit darker, because that's like not working properly. There we go. And even that can use a bit of a, there we go. I can use that, but make some parts of it that color. Let's see. We'll add that there. Add the shine there. Yeah, I call the shiny parts of the hair just the shine or the shinies. I don't know what you guys might call it. I've got my own name layering parts. That looks very disgusting compared to the rest of the hair, but it'll do for now. It gets the message across for now. But yeah, this is sort of the stage where I'm at with learning. Making things read in a more, I think, a more basic level rather than doing and as a whole, like, obviously I'm not doing it as a whole, like, image right now, but I'm doing it as a whole, like, this is the whole of the hair rather than just the one piece of strand. That works. That brown actually gives it a bit more shadow. It actually works nicely than what I thought initially. I might, because the light's coming from this side, I might add more sort of darkness on this side. Maybe like that, and like, I might blend that out a bit more. So yeah, so if you look here, you can sort of see the shape of the hair coming together. At least I think it is. Every time I start talking like that, like what I just said, I feel like defending myself because I'm just like, you know, I think I'm doing it right, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't grill me, guys. Yeah. There we go. I might add. There we go. But yeah, hopefully I can get better at these. At this. Bit more shine there, I guess. So that shine there is matching with the bun there. Again, I'm looking back over here. to see what's working. Another thing, if a lot of you might not know, I mean, you probably all do know, but you might get that one odd person. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. And that's how I've learnt a few things from people going, oh yeah, you guys already know. But then they tell, you know, they say it on the stream anyway, or on the video, and I didn't know that, and I'm like, this is great, you know, and I add it to my my method, or I try and do it to see if I can do it. I really don't like that, because it looks like it is the one color. Now this part here is where I'd go in and do that, but I won't do that now. I think that's okay. I feel like this needs to be lighter. That part needs to be lighter. I'm not actually looking at this big image. I'm actually looking in the little window as I'm doing this. That doesn't look good. Whew. There we go. I reckon these parts here could be lighter. It's too dark. Because there's no folds there. Like, here would be really dark because there's a fold there. If you actually look at, if you go outside and not be on the computer, well, not really, but like, if you look at anything that's like really, really close, like right now I'm looking at my couch and the back pillar of it that's leaning against the I don't know, the backrest, I guess. There's the fold there, and it's like really insanely dark compared to the rest of the couch, which is really light, because folds sort of give that illusion. More things that I've been learning about color and stuff. Guys, color is hard. Color is insanely hard. You think, oh, it's not that hard. You know, the sun's yellow, people are pink, or generally. Or, you know, standardly, I should say. A lot of people draw pink characters. The grass is green, but really, like, what I've learned this year is color is affected by all sorts of different things. So, like, if we look at the grass, generally, yes, it's green, and, you know, if you drew it green, that is the message that your brain is receiving, that it is green. But if you add a bit of sun to it, so you're adding yellow and sort of greenish together, right? It'll create, I think, this sort of olive green. So you've got the dark patches of green, and then, actually, let's do this. Haha, this works. Like, I don't know if I'm teaching anybody, I just like to sort of think of these things to keep my head moving, I guess. So, that is shocking. I'm going to just change that to 100. So, you know, you've got the green. Yeah, that's grass, whatever. And, you know, that's the standard green, because you always relate grass to green. But then if you add a little bit of yellow to it, right, that still looks green there, which is the sun hitting the grass. It's got this yellowy olive look. That's not really olive, but like, it looks yellow. Here it looks like an olive green. And so it creates sort of that thing. But in your head, it's still coming up as green. Like, you still recall this as green. Here's the tricky part. So if you put moonlight on the grass, I think it's like a blue type of thing. So if you put blue on it, or maybe even purple, that would be the grass. Oh, probably not. Look, I haven't really learned too much about grass. But like, grass has a different sort of color, and that's because the blue of it is mixing with the green to create that. So like, one thing that I'm really familiar with, because I did a drawing last year and it was a big flop, but I learned from it, was people who have tan skin. I'm a bit of a yellowy caramel. If you put them under moonlight, the skin is actually purple, because of the effects of the blue of the night sky. But your mind is still registering it as a caramel or tan color. So yeah, that's what I mean by like color is really hard to learn, because depending on what's influencing it can change the color dramatically, and you won't, on a surface level, you won't even know, you can't even tell. But when you actually get to drawing it and stuff, you can tell, and it's scary. I might add a bit more. So, you know, that's sort of what I'm keeping in mind when I'm doing colours, I guess, and how things work. Going there. I still want to add that there. And I really need to go for like a walk or a jog or something, but it is just so ugly outside. And I can't really be bothered going to the gym. I will be starting to the gym next week though. I'm pretty sure I will be. I go with my boyfriend normally. And not because like I don't want to go alone, or because I need him there because he's the guy, sort of thing. I was actually the one that got him into gym. I used to go to gym all the time. That's how I got into my jogging. I used to jog on the treadmill all the time. You know, with a bit of weights and cool stuff in the middle. And then, you know, I started jogging outside and it killed me, and then I got used to jogging outside. But yeah, he's got his own stuff that he wants to do as well, which involves going to the gym. And, you know, I'm a bit, like, I want to focus more on my drawing, and doing the gym is just like a whole other mental thing. Not that it's tiring, it's just more like you need to figure out what you're doing every day as well, and what to do, and actually do it, and fight off like tired or hunger. I'm always hungry, like lately, because I've been trying to eat more healthier. Before, I sort of just fell back into like soft drink and takeout food, and now that I'm going back to healthy, my body's just like, where's all this food? I'm hungry. Why are you starving me? So yeah, like my main focus is getting back into drawing, really, or getting better. Oh yeah, if you look at this, this kind of looks more blue, but you know it's still green. If I got rid of that, it's still green. Yeah, like I want to more focus on jogging, because I like jogging. Like, I know a lot of people don't like jogging, and then there's a whole bunch of other people that will say like jogging is really easy. It's actually not. But I guess the reason why I like jogging is because it feels like a workout for me. Like, if I was just to do some weights for an hour, it kind of feels like I've not done anything, you know, until I hurt the next day. But like, jogging just really exhausts me, which I actually kind of like. It makes me feel more better afterwards. I haven't really jogged in a while. It's probably why I'm feeling a bit down recently. And it's something I need to get back into. I feel like that's coming along. Actually, you know what? Add a bit more green there to balance it out. And some there. And I just feel like it needs a bit more of a gradient there. Sorry, thinking to myself again. That seems to be working. Might actually follow that line. See? Yeah, and getting these lines back is actually helping me not make the drawing look too bland as well, which is good. Sometimes they restrict you, and sometimes they sort of help break it apart a bit more, in my opinion. There we go. I feel like even this could still move across there. What is the time? 1:45. Okay, so that seems to be working. It seems to be working, yeah. So I feel like the robe, the green parts of the robe, like what I'm working on right now, doesn't require too much detail. Like, it's not too much detail. Like, for example, the gloves would be a lot of detail because of the folds of the fingers and the folds between the wrist and the hand. Whereas this one is pretty straightforward, I think. I haven't really done folds too much in clothing. Like, I've got the general gist of an idea, but it's not something that I've sat down hardcore and studied. I don't know how a lot of artists do it. Like, there's just so much to study, you know. And people go, yeah, all you need to do is study it. I'm like, that's great, but there's like, for example, with me, I'm learning the anatomy of the body, and then I'm breaking that apart and learning the anatomy of the head, where to place everything correctly and proportionately, and I'm still stuffing that up. And then I'm learning color, and then I'm learning shadow and lighting, and like, they're all subjects that need to be learned within themselves. Like, it's not just one big subject. It's not just one big thing that you're learning all at once. Every part needs to be broken up. Even the anatomy of the body, you can break that up into learning the hand. I still suck at the hand. This probably looks shocking. I will say it looks better than what I used to do. But yeah, probably still looks shocking. But yeah, the anatomy of the hand, the anatomy of the foot, like, you gotta learn different angles, perspective, shortening, and like, that in itself is its own sort of course, I guess you would say. And some people just can do it. Like, I don't know how. Like, I'm part of a few different art groups on Discord and that, and there's these amazing artists where it's just like, yeah, I want to get into the industry. I'm still learning this and that. And I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, me too. And then they would respond to, yeah, I'm 16, and I'm like, yeah, you're a lot ahead of me. You know, for any of those, I really don't want to say my age, but I'm actually, I think I just turned 27. And when people say, yeah, I'm 16 and their skills are like surpasses my own, I'm just like, oh my god, I can't do anything. And like I said, I've been drawing since I was 8, but also, like I said, I didn't really study properly either. But like, these last 2 years, I've been taking it really, really seriously. I did take study in my course very seriously, but at the time I was more focused on animation, and even then the course itself was broken into different sections. So it wasn't just like, oh, you're learning animation, okay, we'll learn anatomy, poses, how to animate, the foundations, this and that. It was broken up into like, you're going to study a film and write an essay, you're going to study, you're going to do sketching people, you're going to learn 3D modeling, 3D rigging. Like, it was all well within like the creative learning itself in like films, games, and animation, but it wasn't focused. It wasn't focused. Like, if I could focus on one thing while I was back at uni, was like, I would drop a lot of my film subjects. And by film subjects, I mean like the course was still pretty brand new. When I started, it was only in its second year, so a lot of the I really like that. A lot of the units was taken from the film course. And I guess in some degree it would apply, I think, in a more like theory case, but because I wanted to learn the more practical stuff, I would have preferred, like when I left, when I was leaving, I should say, they had units on storyboarding, on learning how to digitally paint in Photoshop, action and locomotive. They didn't have all that when I started. They had like genre and the moving image or something, which was from the film course. And yeah, I felt like that wasn't as relevant as some of the units that they have now. But like I said, it was still just starting that course. It was still standing on its feet, so I didn't really get to find a focus in there, I feel. And I finally did that in my final year, probably my final semester of uni. I feel like that's wrong. That is wrong. Yeah, I did that in my final year, my final semester, and so everything was sort of compounded into the last, in the last semester. And like, I know a lot of you would say, and like even I've thought of it, you know, you can do all this in your own time on top of uni and study. A lot of you might be like, that's how I did it. And I wish I could have, to be honest. But I sort of had to fend for myself. Like, I was working all the time outside of uni, and when I wasn't working, I was actually doing assignments. I used to, at one stage, I was working like 5 shifts a week, which is almost full-time, on crap pay, like most of you probably get while you're at uni. What was it? Yeah, on crap pay. And I remember like barely sleeping, barely eating, and just working and doing assignments if I wasn't in class. So like, I'd even travel to uni, which was like a hour and a half away, public transport wise. I don't even think that it counted getting the bus to the train station. Yeah, and I'd be there like before 8, so I'd be up at like 5 or something every day, traveling to uni just to study, and to go to class and stuff. At one stage, I even had to lie to my job at the time that I had classes 4 days a week, just so that I could catch up on some homework and stuff, because it was just so much. My younger cousin is actually doing his uni degree right now. He's doing a nursing degree, which is pretty good. But even he's having trouble staying on, like, being motivated to stay on top. It's very hard. Like, procrastination. It gets to a lot of people, and it affects a lot of people as well. And he's asking me a lot, like, you know, how do you stay focused? How do you stay motivated? Especially because he likes to play his games, his computer games and stuff, which a lot of you can relate to, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I was kind of lucky at the time. I wasn't too into games. Like, I liked games, but like, I didn't feel like I was dying if I wasn't playing a game, sort of thing. But yeah, and he's just having trouble staying on top of it. And like, I don't know how to motivate him. I can say what worked for me and stuff like that, but I can't say you just need to do it, because, you know, that doesn't work with everybody, unfortunately. Like, the voices in my head said I needed to do it, and I just did it. But that was after a while of trying to get myself to do that. Like, I did a course before the course that I had done, but I dropped it because it was just, the course wasn't like so unfocused. It was anywhere between the traditional arts, like art theory, art history, to new media 3D stuff. And yeah, it was too stressful, so I dropped it. But like, in that, I learned how to focus and stay on top of uni. Even before that, I did a bridging course, or some of you might call it a tertiary course, where it helps you prep and get used to uni life. Yeah, and that sort of helped me do it. So one of the things that I told him, which was only just yesterday, was I know a way to help you stay motivated, I guess, the next time you study, which really helped me at the time that I was learning to stay motivated, was remember this feeling, the dread feeling that you would feel when you know you've been procrastinating and you haven't done anything, and the assignment's probably due tomorrow, sort of thing. You know, I remembered it, and I was just like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. Like, I hate feeling it. It's so stressful and it's so tiring. And then even when you do finish the course or the unit or whatever, you don't feel like a sense of completion, because you just remember feeling dread all the time. So whether or not that works for him, that's up to him. But like I said, I can't like sort of get him motivated. I can't keep him motivated. That's up to him. I can tell him what happened with me and what worked for me, but whether or not that works for him, that's entirely up to him. It's not just motivated to work. It's and I told him this, like, It's not just motivation to work, but it's also a discipline. Like, you need to discipline yourself to stay motivated. In my first year of uni, I was finding it a little bit hard to focus. And like I said, when things go quiet, my mind just rambles on, and it just freaks me out. So that's why I started listening to music, and then eventually got to the point where I was watching people play games. But I wasn't actually really watching. It was more like background noises sort of thing. So I started doing that in my first year of my bachelor's degree. And that really helped. I could sit there for hours with something playing in the background, and like I'd watch it every once in a while, like every hour or something, but like for a minute or so, and then go back to work. But the thing with that was that, especially with newer students, they saw that I was doing it, and I know because this happened to literally the person that was sitting right next to me, is that they saw me watching YouTube. And they're like, oh, cool, so they started doing it, which, is fine, whatever, you're an adult. But then he didn't stop watching it. So he spent his whole class, instead of doing assignments and stuff or studying, he was just doing that. I feel like that's still the wrong colour. Yeah, it needs to be more of an olive colour. That's okay. So he kept watching YouTube, and then he lost his whole 3 hours of class time to watching YouTube, which slightly got him in trouble by the lecturer. And the only reason was because he saw me doing it, but I was just like, it's not my fault, really, He needs to learn he needs to learn not to do that, I guess. If he can't get assignments done because of YouTube, then maybe he shouldn't be watching it at the moment. And the only reason I did was because it helped me. That's like in high school, that was the same thing, you're not allowed phones or iPads. I don't know how it is now. I've been out of school for like almost 10 years. But when I was in high school, you couldn't use iPods or iPhones or whatever. But there was a couple of classes where I had to use my iPod because it was so loud, You're a teenager. Teenagers are very loud. Yeah, it was very loud. It was hard for me to think, so I plugged it in. My teacher was fine because she saw that my head was down and I was working. And that helped me, and I got a lot more work done doing that. And for anybody who may or may not be watching, or might be watching in the future, and saying, why can't we do that in school if you're not doing that? Just prove to the teacher that you're doing work. Show them your stuff. I had another class. It wasn't a class that I wanted to choose, but the class that I initially chose got dropped, unfortunately, and I was kind of in the delinquent class because it was the only unit available, because, like I said, my initial class got dropped, and I had to do that one. And it eventually got to the point where it was just way too loud and I couldn't concentrate, and some teenagers, they just want to put on a show, and I'm just like, I didn't want to deal with it, so I asked my teacher, in high school, if I could go to the library, and she was fine with that because she knew that I always worked hard. Yeah, so that worked for the first, semester, and then unfortunately I got a new teacher. I really didn't like her. She was not cool. She was a hard one, but she still let me go to the library, because first she hassled me saying, why do you want to go to the library? And I had to whisper because everybody was close. I was just like, it's too loud in this class. I can't concentrate. I can't get my work done because I keep getting distracted because people are like throwing stuff across the room. I don't think I'm exaggerating that. I think people were throwing stuff across the room, and she knew it. But the thing with her was that every single time I went to her class to ask to go to the library, she'd force me to show her my work as if I hadn't been working, I'd just been wagging. And yeah, like every single time, you think after a little while you build their trust, and they're like, yeah, sure, I know you work hard, but no, I didn't like her. She did not trust me. But yeah. So yeah, I just went to the library a lot because I couldn't study in class. So yeah, take a note from that. If you don't like your class, prove that you study. If you don't study, then deal with the class. And that's not to say that I was a nerd in school. I was actually pretty stupid in school. I wasn't the smartest. I'm still not the smartest. It's just some of the things that I was doing in school were the things that I wanted to do, so it was easier to concentrate. What is going on there? There we go. Yeah. I could keep doing this. I don't know whether I should continue or not. I've been on here for an hour and a half. It's 2 o'clock. It's been sunny for a while, but the glare's gone, or I'm just used to it now. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just checking the weather. Well, it seems like the rain has stopped. Maybe I might go for a jog soon. I feel more relaxed into it after streaming. That's the other thing, is when my head gets in me, not when I get in my head, I just stress a lot. Like, I don't think I have anxiety. Like, I know I've had anxiety before, but a lot of that was to do with environmental issues. Environmental being things that were happening at my life at that stage or whatever. But I do stress out a lot. Like, a lot of the times I feel like I don't have enough time to do a lot of different things, and I want to do a lot of different things. I wanted to learn piano, and I did for a couple of years. But because I'm working hard on trying to get better at drawing, I've stopped learning piano because it's just another thing to learn, like another thing that drains me mentally. And that saying where if you want to learn something, you can make time for it. I'm like, oh. I guess in some way it is, but then there's also like, other things. For example, people have a life, and I'm not saying like social parties and stuff. I'm saying like people need to work, people need to pay bills, people need to, do stuff, and that doesn't, give a lot of time. For example, if this is an example for maybe somebody living in Melbourne, because I live in Melbourne. A lot of people go to the city, so they'd be up at 5 or 6, leave the house maybe at 7 because it takes about an hour or so to get out to the city, and then they don't get home until 6 or 7 at night. And then, you want to go to bed by maybe 9 or 10. And, I know a lot of people might want to go to the gym or do their hourly workout or something. Whatever they do, go for a walk or for a run or go to the gym or do a club, like a dance club, I don't know. And that takes time out of your day. And then on top of that, do what they want to do. Say learn piano, which is not a lot of time left. And then that's just one example. Like, another thing of people have lives is like some people have kids. They have to take care of their kids. They don't have time to learn things that they want to learn, unfortunately. And then even if they do have time, they're so mentally drained that they just don't have the energy to learn. So, yeah, I would love to learn piano. Like, I know some of the basics, but my focus right now is learning how to draw in 3D and paying for the bills. I'm just kind of mindlessly doodling now, not really focusing. But yeah, if anybody's watching this or will watch this, drop me a comment. I'd like to meet you guys. Tell me that I can improve somewhere. Tell me that you want to learn something new. Yeah, I might hop off now. But this is Nimyn. It's obviously not finished. I've still got a long way to go. I'll probably be finishing this in my own time, which will take maybe a little while. I might drop back in and finish it off online. Sorry, I have a bad habit of saying offline. I'm fixing that. Yeah, I might finish this online as well, but it might be more progressed than this. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Tell me what you think of the image. I don't know. Nothing bad. No, nothing like cruel bad. I don't mind if it's bad, as in constructive criticism. But yeah, But yeah, let me know. Okay, thanks for listening if anybody is watching, and I'll see you next time.